welcome back into the studio. And this is Clean Slate. And I'm really looking forward to it. I've been like gnawing at the bit. I've been wanting to get back in here. Almost once a month isn't enough for me. I've been really enjoying it. But so today I thought I would work on this layout page. I like the fact that there's not a lot of color going on here and there's a lot of color going on here. So I've already picked out some papers to collage with that I thought would match color-wise this a little bit. Some neutrals, some light yellows, the blacks, more neutrals. These are vintage tape pieces I thought would be fun. These are just some sample pieces from a mixed media menagerie, but they kind of had the colors in here. So some book text. And I'm not quite sure what's on this, but it might be fun to find out. This will kind of go in that. So I have just picked out a few. I know where I'm gonna go with this, but I thought that would be fun. These might be a little interesting. This was tests that I did with some crackle paste for a mixed media menagerie, and some of these, as you can see, are just totally lifting off. And that is unfortunate. So it might be a little interesting to try and use these. I might not be able to. We'll see. I thought maybe I could go over it with a little bit of gel medium, but this back here is oxide sprays, so I'm not quite sure if that's going to work or not because it'll pick it up. So we'll see. I might just go ahead and do some over this and see what happens and, go from there. So anyways, let's get started. And like I said, these are, I'm just putting the matte medium on there to see if I can't get these to stick down. We'll see. I'll put them aside, let them dry while I'm doing some other collaging, and then try ripping them apart and see how they handle it. On this invoice pad or receipt pad, I'm really enjoying the texture of the lines the grids make in that. And so I'm just kind of skewing those and laying those down as part of my collage.
Today and not tomorrow, there's no time to borrow today. Well, something's gotta give. Today is a good day. Today and not tomorrow, there's no time to borrow today. Well, something's gotta give. Today is a good.
I'm not sure if this is book text or what it was, but that yellow, I just felt like that yellow needed the bright yellow from the right page to the left page needed to have some balancing. So, but I didn't want too much of it, so that gave me the idea to put a little snippet of it inside that circle, and then what else to then bring your eye across the page and then up again, but having that those yellow circles kind of trail up.
This is as good a day as any.
Well, it turns out putting that matte medium on top of these samples of crackle paste that were kind of flaky really worked. The biggest challenge was these were watercolor paper, so in order to get them to stick well, I needed to put matte medium down on the page they were going to, as well as the back of them, then apply them, and of course then I needed to use some weight as well to keep those down and get them dried in place well.
Today and not tomorrow, there's no time to borrow. Today is a good day to live. This morning has so clear a light as any to see the horizon and the far. Excuses were 2 for a penny.
And here I've just created somewhat of that movement of your eye with the pink pieces as well. So you come from the upper right pink, come down a little bit, and then come at a diagonal back up over the other page of the layout. And this is really that rule of threes, uneven numbers. They're more pleasing to the eye. You also want to always, when you're collaging or doing any type of art, you want to think about how your eye moves through the piece. And so it's not a conscious thing anymore for me. It's kind of a rote thing. As long as I stay out of my head, my body seems to just follow that ruling just because I've done it for so many years. It used to be really frustrating because then I'd look at something afterwards and I'd be like, oh, well, like you don't move at all. You're just spinning around in the center of the page. And it would frustrate me to no end. But with lots of time on the table, just playing, doing things like this, just getting in daily into my art practice has really helped me be able to stay out of my head, so I'm working intuitively, but at the same time following some of the basic, well, you know, I want to say rules, but we don't like rules around here in the art world, so modes of operation, for lack of a better word. If you've got a better word for that, hey, comment below. I'd love to hear it. So I've just used those delectable pieces of old vintage packing tape, and now I'm coming in to push some things back with my gesso. And per my normal way, I like to follow the texture, so I need to have my hands right into the book. So I usually do this with my fingers. Get that gesso, just pushing some of the elements together so they're more cohesive, using more white, pushing other things back so it's not as busy, which allows other elements to come to the forefront.
It's a good day today. It's a good day today. It's a good day to live.
All right, so I'm getting prepared to lay down some color, and today my choice is to use one of my beloved Marabou art sprays. I don't think they make these anymore, but these are light fast. They are not water soluble, so once they dry, they're permanent, which is nice, no surprises. I was surprised because I picked the yellow, but I just felt like I lost some of that yellow after putting down that gesso, so I'm going to come in with that. Really move it around a lot though, you'll see here.
But harmony when the old one's gone under the knife, and I can feel the sun on my.
And again, doing that with this liquid text ink in the pink. This time I'm actually going for any real textural areas to bring that, just that pop of color back in, but let it seep nicely into the textural areas.
Today and not tomorrow, there's no time to borrow.
Now this is some watercolor and it's a sample, and I have the the Etsy shop linked below in the description box if you're interested. I'll always list all the products I use down below. And this is more of a metallic. It has a shine to it. Now there was some metallic paint, I'm not quite sure what it was, in the background already on the right hand page, that craft page. And so I felt, and it was popping through, so I felt like we needed to pop that out a little bit more and make a more, bring it to more to your attention. And that watercolor just wasn't enough.
It's alright. Today and not tomorrow. There's no time to borrow. Today, well, something's got.
So I've got this R2 pen out, done my scratchy scritch lines around the circle areas of text, and I've gone back in with it. This roller ball is one from Dollar Tree, and if before it dries, you can move it nicely with water. So I've done that initially with my first pass around those circles, and then I've gone back over it to get some more distinct lines. And then I'm coming through and finding areas of texture, putting a little bit of that R2 pen down, and then bleeding it out, doing some shading, giving some additional interest with these kind of marks, these watery, inky marks. All right, now I've pulled out a piece of sari, and I've cut it down, but really raggedly, and I'm wanting to make a little tag that comes out of the journal and can be seen from the edge. And so I'm putting a little piece of DMC floss, sewing it through there, getting it to stick together, and then I'm going to attach it to the side.
Time to borrow today. Well, something's gotta give. Today is a good day. Today and not tomorrow.
All right, so for the little assemblage that I'm putting on as our focal point, I have kind of monkeyed with it quite a bit, not quite sure what I was going to do, but finally got it together. Used another little bit of the sari and putting it on top of some of those threads that I love to have in there. And I decided that the pink of the DMC floss on the bit that I had put stapled to the side I didn't like, so I'm just pulling out that thread there.
This is a good a day as any to start the rebuilding of life.
Oh my gosh, so much fussing. That was a real chore to get that one down, but I did it finally. It's hard being patient with myself over here. I'm like, don't think about it, just stick it down. Oh, it was the first place I saw, and then I kept moving it around. I don't know.
Today and not tomorrow. There's no time to borrow. Today is a good day to live. This morning has so clear a light as any to see the horizon and the far. Excuses were 2 for a penny, but they've all gone out the window of this car. And when I